That a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? Too late, the fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garadeb. You are no ordinary household maid. You are Mr. Garadeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadeb herself. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you will need to beat with the most ferocious bite. It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock I think. So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garrett mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really, no one at all? To believe. Yes, to believe. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping back into the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. So in the last episode, we finally found out what Mr. Garadeb and his maid were hiding. Or should I say, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb. We found out that they are actually married, that the whole maid thing is just to keep up appearances on Mr. Garadeb's part. Only poor people don't have maids. If you're middle class enough, you should have at least one, right? So he's, even his appearance, if you look at his hovel, he has the appearance of like an upper crusty kind of gentleman, but yes, he's not as well off as he wants us to think. So he has his wife pose as a maid, and what happened there was he got a book from the bookstore, Mr. Garadeb that is, brought it home, and apparently somebody had left a bookmark in it, which was like a love note, and Mrs. Garadeb found it and thought that he was cheating on her with another woman. So all the destruction of the house, the candle falling over, which burnt the carpet, that was her in her fit of rage. The china and pottery, all broken. All of that was her. And yeah, and that's what it came down to. Even though we saw a glimpse of it, earlier, like he has a little smack mark on his face where she slapped him hard across the face. But it was all a misunderstanding. She clearly has rage issues. So that's what that was about. It had absolutely nothing to really do with the actual case. All we really learned is because of that whole incident that happened around the same time as the stabbing, so they at least supposedly haven't seen anything. We also met the other lodger, the other guy who's staying in the building. He is very eccentric, almost like Shakespearean guy. I'm sure we'll see more of him. Maybe he'll be called as a witness or something in this trial. Maybe we'll see him during another investigation. Who knows? We'll find out sooner or later. And then at the very end, we just talked to Natsume one more time, along with Sholmes. He was there with us. And we learned that we had to believe in ourselves first and foremost, before even worrying about whether we should believe in the client or whatever. Believe in our gut instinct. And so we decided to defend Natsume because he believes that he's not guilty. He thought that about the last defendant, but this time he's sure, apparently. No, I'm kidding. It was a nice moment. Like I said in the last episode, I do like the character growth we're getting from case to case with Ryunosuke, and even Suzuto too. It's nice to see. I like seeing that. That's pretty much what happened, and now we're jumping into the first trial. So a couple things. We have hardly any evidence. We have a receipt and a map of the area. That's all we got. We didn't really... I kind of thought about it afterwards. I'm like, we never actually got to... Like, the actual crime scene where the stabbing took place that, was cordoned off by Scotland Yard. We never got to actually investigate that yet this whole time. They never let us in to that area, so that's something. That would have been helpful. We also never got to talk to the victim, who is, still alive. This was an attempted murder, this case, so she's still around. I don't know if Von Zykes will call her as a witness, maybe. Maybe she's better and is able to, act as a witness, or maybe we'll see her during another investigation. It'd be interesting, though, because she was stabbed in the back, so I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't see anything. You know, if she was stabbed, she probably would plop to the ground and then blacked out. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't see her attacker. But yeah, I'm sure eventually we'll talk to her. And yeah, so hopefully it seems like we don't have much to go on, but as usual, I'm sure the prosecution will bring up evidence and we'll have to refute witness testimony and all that jazz. Without further ado, let's dive right in. So, 20th of February, 9:23 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Make sense? Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. No pressure, right? In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, yes, you're quite right. Good morning. There we go, there's our defendant. Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning. I'm not used to seeing you out of jail. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. I guess they say that. I know they say that in America too. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. Understandable, sir. I doubt I would be able to sleep either. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so, well, literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. We will try not to let you down. No promises, though. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. And yet you're trembling. A lot. Really? Because I can feel tremors on the floor. I can do this. I can do this. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? Yeah? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Oh, crap. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato? Oh, actually, who was it we were talking to? I think Mr. Garadev had pointed out, you know, the relations between, England and, Japan. You know, how, since he's a British student on trial, that's kind of put eyes on the situation, something like that. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? It's all for show. Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? The Grim Reaper, he's out to get you. Lord Van Zykes? Is that right, Miss Susato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, I'm afraid so. Lord Van Zykes is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? Didn't he? I don't remember what he said, though. Okay, so this is him talking. The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zykes' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. Hey, remember me? I am Magnus McGilded! Okay, bye. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? And why are all these pictures of him nude photos? He left the court to be a male model. That's the question the papers are asking. And they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane is the most significant saga of the century to some of us! Oh dear! I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. You probably shouldn't read the papers. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. Yes. A battle to the death. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Admit it! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. Or Grim Reapers. I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? Hey! By the least lucky lawyer alive! Hey, you were all gung-ho about having me defend you. I can turn around, you know. Well, actually, it's probably too late to do that. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yeah, oh. Yeah. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. I'm not Kameda, but I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. We got your back, bro. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba, Esquiress. That's a new one. Don't call me that. I am in your debt, forever. I shall never forget this great kindness as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel of the defense. Shut up. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. It's time. All right then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yeah. Yes! Let's do it. I'm so gonna die. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Did you say something, Ryunosuke? Okay. Sorry. Wait for me to ruin a sweet moment. 20th of February, 10:00 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh wait, no. They're not all the same jury. But I did see the old lady. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsel for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. Are you now? The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Oh, you didn't know that the first time? Do you have a point? That is my point. Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Suzuro-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. That's true, we won. In your face, Dracula. Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course, after I murdered. Never mind. Let me sip my wine or my grape juice. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. You okay, bro? The way he worded that was odd, but... Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? Oh, what the heck? Wasn't this the witness in the last case? You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. Oh my, what? Okay. Never mind, I don't know. When they first showed the jury, I thought this lady was the granny from the last one. Oh, look who it is. Impartial jury, my butt. I'm afraid to say I think it's quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed. Come on! What are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway! Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Okay, got an interesting bunch. Very well, let us proceed. Okay, first off, if I remember correctly, the maid was very, very, very biased toward Natsume. So, this will be fun. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zykes. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Suzuki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes... Don't know about that. Regrettably, the kindness had not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Oh, already. Of planting a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. Admit it. You're guilty. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at that shallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Okay, we got another deaf guy. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in this great chamber. That should at least be saved for the third act. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Who we got? Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Oh, Gregson? I guess that makes sense to start with the, detective guy. Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? Okay, we're getting a picture of her. The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector? Thought to be. Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. Makes sense. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? I wonder if she'll never come back. Maybe that's their workaround. Maybe they don't want her to, like... Even though she's not dead, maybe they don't want her to actually be around. So maybe she'll... At least until after the end of the trial, maybe we won't actually hear from her. Maybe she'll stay in that state the whole time. I hope not, though. It'd be kind of cool to talk to, like, a victim of one of these crimes. Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. Hey, I have that. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. Yeah, so is that like the corner there? It had not long stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Okay, I like this. We're getting some We're getting visuals. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Blah, dead. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. For being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please. There we go. The case file has been entered into the court record. A file containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in hospital, yet to regain consciousness. What of the weapon that was used? Hold on there, Mr. Van Zykes. Let's take a better look at this. Okay, young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. We know that. Olive green. Female, stout build, early 20s. Pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer, Rolly Beat. Oh, like a beat cop? Huh. I wonder if that's important. I feel like it is. Maybe we'll run into Rolly Beat. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Okay. Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. She would have been shanked. Even the scraggly-looking Suzuki-san, I suppose. A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Okay, jackknife. A large but commonplace folding knife. It was found lodged in the victim's backside. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? I was just thinking that a little while ago. Because we already know he has no connection to her. That we know of. Before we continue, let's take a closer look at this. Switch. Okay. Is it like chipped? Is it chipped off at the tip there? Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. You're right. Well spotted, Miss Suzuto. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes, you don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. I think you just see a chip of the blade and like just sticking out of her back. Now, okay, if it was the tip, it would be lodged very well in there. Yeah, I think that's it. Fair enough. From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. So, probably not valuables then. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
Exactly. I have a statement to make, sir. If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet, you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Oh, I don't think we ever saw that, animation. Pray, just give the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. Oh, my head! Shut up. I wasn't talking to you. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Okay, I'd like to know why, then. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. I think we already have an idea. Didn't Sholmes say that he found whatchamacallit, like, you know, stuff, maybe a book or something, stuff belonging to Natsume at the scene? Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. Okay, let's hear it. First witness testimony of the case. Mr. Natsume's arrest. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused, so no one else on the street. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. Okay. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. Okay. Well, what we already know, though, is that there were no other witnesses, right? At least, I'm trying to think. They did actually say there was a witness, though, right? Didn't they say, like, another cop? Maybe it was that roly-poly guy. No, what's the name? Roly-poly beat or roly beat, whatever he was. But yeah, they said, like, a respected, there was a witness who was, like, a respected gentleman, and he was a police officer and stuff. So we do have a witness then. But it could be that guy, who knows? Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. Since our lawyer here didn't get to examine the crime for reasons. Oh yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I can't read what they say, but... I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. Wait, why is it in color? Aren't all the other photographic prints we gotten in black and white? In the last day or two, we invented the color photographic print. Don't question it. You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Oh, we've only just started, Van Zykes, don't you worry. So there's the knife, stuck in her back. Yeah, we don't get necessarily any better look at the books this way. Okay, nothing stands out immediately. Yeah, nothing really stands out. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, Shut up. Forgive me, Lord Van Zykes, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. He's only denying some things. What are you doing, Miss Susato? Do go on. Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet. Okay, she is wearing... I'm trying to think if there's anything different about the description. She said she was wearing a green overcoat, which she is. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs would carry me, back to my accursed lodgings. Yeah, so we didn't hide away from the details. Those match up. Humph. A green overcoat? Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Wait, that's not the voice I gave him. Oh my, what a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? You read my mind, juror number 4, whoever you are. The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. He did nothing. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crimes of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time. Just the two of them. The victim and the accused. In other words, there's nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Blast it all. Huh. It seems this course examination can prove to be pivotal, counsel. You got that right. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Or chance. I'm doing so many English accents that they blend into other characters who don't have an English accent. Mr. Natsume's arrest. There we go. Let's start here.
Hold it!
Hold it! Mr. Natsume's belongings. I think you'll find it all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, we saw the books. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. Yeah. Are we sure they're all his, though? The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife. For example, he's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might ever had before we even knew it was there. He's a sneaky one. You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord. Yes. I don't buy it. Okay, a number of books he just bought.
Hold it!
Hold it, mister. The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. That is true. That is a fact. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Okay. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here. Bourbon Books. Okay, so that's right. That's not far at all from where she was stabbed. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mersham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Not if he wanted some exercise. Maybe he did a few, laps around the block. Maybe he went around. He seems like the type of guy who's into fitness. Something like this. Okay, so it got upgraded. A street map of the local area showing locations that are relevant to the case. Oh, we should take a look at that. It's probably updating it with all the different, all the different stuff we're learning. Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop. Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Nah. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... You know what? We have a receipt. Yeah, there we go. Your books. There we go. The bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe. Just do it. Oh, well, yes. It could be a very important clue. Humor me, Inspector. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could the man be any more sardonic? Okay, we got this one easily. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, the second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes. But that is not true, sir. The local map... Oh, sorry. Could you imagine I mess up already? Your Books is the name of the shop he frequents.
Objection!
Objection! If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused's room, did you? You bet your biscuits. Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume? Yes, my lord. Oh, yes, my lord. They're your books, not my books. Okay, just trying to lighten the mood. So, Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. Who's the detective here? And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Well, it depends. Where's it located? Because he might not have passed her if it was located down the other street, like to the east. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. So where is it? If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed the location at all. Could that be true? My, it rather depends on this other bookshop is. Where this other bookshop is, I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right, maybe, possibly. What is this, like, right next door or something? Oh, crap. Inspector Gregson, where's this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street going east. A street map of the local area showing location that I relevant to, so I just updated that. I mean, in reality, I guess that means he could have gone a different way, but he still could have gone the other way too, like, you could have gone either way. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh. Yeah, I still think the other way is whatchamacallit, is closer. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. Have a toast with me, my Nipponese friend, to your future career in the circus. Girl, you put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. I'll shove it down your throat. Calm down, Suzuto. The game's not up yet. I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused were coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books. There's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. I mean, not necessarily though. I mean, it's like, if Bourbon Books was, you know, where we see it there, you know, then there's no other, unless he really did go the long way, he definitely would have gone past her. But there's still a chance that he could have gone down Calabash Road and, you know, around. Yes, thank you, Inspector. Have a whip of my grape juice. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Crash. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ah, damn it. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say, eh? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon. Terribly sorry, but what would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must think. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Sozuki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but... well, we're not gonna leave it. I don't know how we're gonna prove he went the other way, but I mean, it's definitely possible. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Exactly. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked. Watch, we're gonna find out like the road was closed due to construction or some BS.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. Is it though? Ah. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
You can't prove that, yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. Ah, damn it, Natsume.
That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. He's a bit of a mess, really. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home.
Great. I don't believe this! Believe it. My Nipponese friend. I thank you, my learned friend. And suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... Uh-oh. So, shall we call him guilty now?
I agree with Lord Van Zykes. Wholeheartedly and in every way.
What? I don't believe it. Does this mean...
We, members of the jury, are completely convinced now. Wait, all of you? Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Oh gosh.
Guilty. Guilty.
Oh gosh, no, stop.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Oh, okay. No, stop! Should I have left it alone? Should I have left the matter alone?
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Can we challenge it like we did in the last time?
To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably.
Mr. Naruhodo. Don't give up, Ryunosuke.
No, not yet.
This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow? Those are the eyes of Quarry not yet willing to give up and die. I like how he adjusted his armband there.
So, I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? The rights of the defense were into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Well, it worked last time, didn't it? So, suck it. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. And I so choose. Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Of course we're ready.
So is this guy the, whatchamacallit? Is this guy the head juror?
I'm all too familiar with that nipponese whippersnapper and his uncas refusal to throw in his alley.
Very well then. For a moment I was wondering if the game was just getting lazy and like reusing assets, but no, it sounds like he is the same guy.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what ground you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
I will say it's a little ridiculous that she's on the jury. The lady who literally lives in the same building and already has beef with Natsume. The juror's contentions.
For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he?
He just said he was there.
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it can only have been the victim.
The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
Yes, she was.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to do. Your books was, yes, nice shop that. But bourbon books, no, not worth a visit.
Okay, so if I remember, we gotta pit them against each other.
With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear. When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Please don't.
Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now.
Oh, this court sucks. Ugh. Why do you have to run away like that? But how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, pull yourself together. This is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue...
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least.
Exactly.
You got this. We have no choice but to forge forward. Let's do it.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord.
Slap-a-pow!
I just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it!
You can do it!
Yay! This was fun last time. I like these. The defense's rebuttal. Okay, I'm not sure, to be honest. So I don't know, should I start pressing them?
Hold it!
You're right, that's the time of the incident. The defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite. That's precisely my point.
Clearly that someone wearing green was the victim.
And clearly that funny little Japanese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit.
But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly claiming the woman simply clapped before his eyes.
But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible?
Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds?
I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. A lot of racists, all of you.
I do declare that man was already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple. Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh my, you are too kind, my lord. That went well, for her.
Hold it!
Let's see, why is that? But you can't deny that there were other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. But you can't prove it either way. And at the moment there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? That doesn't mean you can just assume or pick which way what you think he went. Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone to the Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. Reason why Suzuki-san might have taken the longer way home. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. I don't think we have one yet, do we?
Hold it!
Gonna press this guy.
Huh? Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what?
Are we playing poker? No. What I said was hold it. Hold it, like that. What I want to ask was, do you visit your books often?
They're not your books, they're my books.
I said that already. I told that joke already.
I like the old books that they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and dunked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road?
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal testimony. It may very well be extremely significant. Do it!
Sorry, extremely sick. No, I'm quite alright now.
God damn it. What a jury we have. It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. You can say that again. I agree, it's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly. Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other. Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other. Kill them all! Okay, so let me see. So I guess what's-his-face is changed.
I slipped over that evening myself on Calabash Road. I knocked myself clean out, you know.
But now I still don't know exactly what that means. He said on Calabash Road it was slippery. Right? Sorry, I keep... He said Calabash Road was the slippery road, so why...
I don't know why would that mean that he would have gone that way? If anything, he would have avoided it if it was slippery, right? He would have avoided Calabash Road. I'm a little confused about that. The only other witness testimony that even has to do with the path is his, and we already pressed him. So I don't know if I should try pitting them against each other, or maybe I should continue pressing. His doesn't make sense because he said he slipped on Calabash Road. Oh, unless they're asserting that he was the cause of an accident, like maybe. Wait, no, that doesn't. I'm a little confused. Honestly. Maybe once they describe it, I feel like at least trying it. I'm gonna try it. I'm just not fully understanding, but I'm gonna try pitting him. Let's give it a shot, see if this works.
Objection!
No, I don't think so. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. I'm sorry, but as foreman of the jury, I have to object. That's complete nonsense. What? I'm a banker, don't forget, an educated man, and there's no contradiction as far as I can see. Quite so, Mr. Foreman. I will not permit a whimsical attack against the good members of the jury council. There was nothing whimsical about it. It's very important to listen carefully to every juror, Mr. Naruhodo. Then you can decide where the contradictions really lie, if there are any. So I think we just gotta keep pressing people. Let's start from here.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the side of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking about. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry? Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. I hate you. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals. Oh well, you know. Water under the bridge, haha. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back the clock. Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. I'm not biased at all. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's mind given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now. Okay, so we did you.
Hold it!
You also have history with us. Whatever's the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room? The master's wife? Where'd you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid, you understand? She's keeping up that charade? This is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely he must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort. What? I don't like him very much. Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. I assure you there was no bomb. Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I'd better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. The only one left is you. You had nothing to really add.
Hold it!
A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes.
Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's.
Ah.
The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat. And neither do the wife and kids.
Oh, I see. That must be very hard.
I go to the union every morning to find what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left and right and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, is it?
It is. So you were out digging up the road? Oh, here we go. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? And let me guess, he was doing construction on Briar Road? Or near it? Maybe the road above it?
In fact, I remember rightly. It was just round the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was.
What? Another coincidence.
That's right. Mearsome Street it was.
Mearsome Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please.
What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now?
Please, sir. It's important.
Fine, I'll do it then.
Okay. See, I just gotta be patient. I already got one wrong because I saw a connection. I even said, like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm gonna go for it. I should have been like, no, it doesn't make sense. Let's uncover more evidence, and then we'll see if that's what they're going for. Okay, now it's clear. Yep, Mearsome Street is there, so if there was construction going on there, obviously he would have had to go around. So that's the obvious answer there. Actually, I can just do this. Pit you. And you.
Objection!
There we go. Those 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At odds, counsel? Explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted.
Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir. What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implication of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mearsome Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Mearsome Street and down Briar Road. Oh yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we see now that he had no choice. Yes! My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say that the man's guilty now. Time to change my answer. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Huzzah! What about you, sir?
Who, me? Huh. Well, alright then. I have things to do, but what can you do? If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Tally-ho!
Okay, we still need to get 2 more, right? Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well.
They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zykes is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to present, by whatever means we have at our disposal. I'm bored. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please. Yes, my lord. And I'll try not to screw up again. Okay, so I already pressed everyone. I don't know if pressing them now will give us new info. Oh, maybe this. Because all it says here is, if the woman in green clapped before his eyes, but what if she slipped as well? That makes sense. This makes sense. Maybe we're implying that she could have slipped.
Objection!
There we go. Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6? My, whatever do you mean, sir?
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he had no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we were all well aware of this, the poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Was she, though? Can we really be sure of that, madam? My, whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my! My goodness, you mean... That's right, I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Oh, are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? Oh... Okay. That is entirely possible, yes. I did not even make that connection. I thought they were implying with that it was possible that she also slipped. Oh, that does make sense. Especially if he went that way, he wouldn't have run into her. Oh, that makes sense. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that!
My goodness me! Huh? Sorry. You need to pee?
The bathroom's that way. And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my! Yeah, we got him.
You idiot old man!
If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago. And really, what are you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat?
What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days, huh? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it? I'll kill you all!
Ready to change your mind? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You would like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you, madam.
And I would too.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well... Yeah!
Yay! Tally-ho! There we go. We did it, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. So the noes have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Like, God damn it, not again.
Take a sip, buddy.
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moment after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zykes? Got something to say? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. They're all idiots, all of them. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth.
Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir? That's right. Took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend?
Eh? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works?
I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope for passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Ah! Is that true, is it? The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodging, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road.
Crushed in a single sentence. That's true, that's the damning part.
And old man.
Cold man, you can talk.
You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say as I remember.
You don't remember? Well, I mean, if he tripped and fell, he might not have been paying attention.
How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Arg! Yeah, I don't think we can.
Order! Lord Van Zykes, explain yourself.
My lord?
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination?
Humph. I want to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed.
You suck.
But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel.
Time for the cloak to come off.
So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
Bring it on, Van Zykes. Wait, what are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witness.
I wonder who it is. Like I said, it would be interesting if it's the victim herself. It's next witnesses. Or it could be the guys who witnessed the crime, the policeman and his wife, was it?
Mr. Norohodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Van Zyke brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Sozuki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over.